In Chinese antiquity, hair was considered a precious gift from one's parents. Not wishing to discard this precious gift, the hair was worn so long that it could literally be worn as a blanket. The Chinese woman paid close attention to the details of her hairstyle, and social dictates prescribed hairstyles for married and unmarried women. Historical imagery gives us a glimpse into the varied ways in which the canvas of the Chinese woman's lustrous hair was prepared for adornment. A chart we could see displayed in a barbershop today, describing the different possibilities for styling the side hair of the Chinese gentleman, or what we might call sideburns. We can see by these images how attention was given to the smallest details in the styling of hair. Early evidence of artificial hair can be seen from this hairpiece. Wooden wigs, such as this interesting example, have been found in Tang Dynasty tombs. Silver-gilt hairpiece supports, such as this, have been found in tombs dated to the Ming Dynasty. Some of the earliest hair ornaments discovered were in the form of pins to hold and adorn the hair, such as this pin made of bamboo shoots from a Qin Dynasty tomb dated to the 2nd century BCE. Here we see the development of the hairpin, traceable for over 2,000 years. After so many Chinese incarnations, we can see it finally manifest as the indispensable and universal bobby pin of our day. Although Mr. Bobby Plimpton is given credit for the patent on the bobby pin at the turn of the 19th century, a simple Google search shows just where bobby pins are manufactured today. And if you guessed China, congratulations. By the Han period, the Silk Road west of Chang'an had open trade to the west. By the 1st century BCE, trade had already been established with the Roman Empire. Merchants along the route traded silk for numerous commodities, including gold currency from the West, helping to influence the prestige of the metal. Imperial association was the factor, which defined the meaning of status and rank as emphasis on imperial rule continued. The emergence of Buddhism in China in the 1st century BCE during the early Eastern Han Dynasty greatly influenced the arts of the day, from painting to jewelry. Gold had become increasingly popular and joined jade as a symbol of immortality, inspired by the Taoist search for longevity and the elixir of life. In 23 CE, the Han Imperial Treasury owned over 6.3 million ounces of gold, estimated by some to be equivalent to the gold held by the Roman Empire at the same time. Though there is controversy regarding the actual amount held today at Fort Knox, the stated estimate is 147.6 million ounces of gold. A familiar motif in Chinese jewelry design is the flower. Carved jades, cast gold flowers, finely worked filigree flowers in silver and gold can be seen in Chinese ornaments since the Han Dynasty. Early tomb discoveries give evidence that the Chinese woman wore natural flowers in her hair long before the hippies descended on San Francisco in the Summer of Love. In fact, she has been wearing flowers for the past 2,000 years. The use of artificial flowers was also popular. According to the legendary stories of Wu Ling, the use of flowers as adornment was so widespread that the price of flowers skyrocketed. This created a market for artificial flowers made of silk and colored paper. A Five Dynasties tomb yielded glass ornaments in the form of flowers. We often hear how fashion dictates what we may wear. But in China, in the year 59, it was an imperial edict which literally dictated fashion. The official declaration stated that belt hooks were out of style and no longer appropriate to wear. The foreign influence brought on by trade during this period resulted in the fall of the belt hook. As a result, production of sectioned belt plaques attached to a leather belt began in China. The belts ended with a buckle, complete with the familiar movable pin stem for closure. The buckle was referred to as the dou, or head, and the tails of the belt would be suspended at intervals along the belt. Regulations of the court governed the types of materials used for the plaques and buckle according to status and rank. By this time, gold and silver had been acknowledged as materials of prime value. The art of the Chinese goldsmith profited from the new trading and tributary relations with the West, where gold working techniques had reached a more advanced level earlier on. One important technique introduced and incorporated in the production of exquisite ornaments was the technique of granulation, known in the West since around 2500 BCE. The ancestral habit of putting combs in the hair is in evidence since Neolithic times. This custom prevailed and enjoyed the height of popularity during the Tang Dynasty and continued through the 12th century. With the establishment of the Yuan Dynasty, their use went into decline. Hair combs from the Ming and Qing dynasties are rare, as their use was almost completely forgotten in favor of gold diadems, elaborate headdresses, and hair ornaments. Once again, the second great period of expansionism came during the Tang Dynasty, beginning in the early 7th century. Chang'an was the capital as well as the cosmopolitan center of Asia. The Tang capital was both the destination and starting point for the Silk Road, which accounted for the large population of foreign merchants as well as for the taste of the aristocratic elite for Western-inspired decorative fashion. The cultures of Bactria, Sogdiana, and the Turkic and Mongolian tribes of Central Asia strongly influenced China with foreign taste and craftsmanship. This influence is beautifully illustrated by the following image of 2 Tang hair ornaments I acquired on that fateful day on Cat Street in 1993. Made from very high carat gold, these chrysanthemum ornaments appear to have generous Persian influence. The petals of the flowers had been cut from thin gold sheet. The tine of the pin was hammered into shape. As you can see, the clasp on the second ornament is not unlike the clasps we still see today on hair barrettes. Here are 2 headdress ornaments I had the pleasure to see on a trip to the Northern Territories north of Hong Kong. Excavated in Yulongkab-meng, Inner Mongolia, they are dated to the Northern Dynasties, a period between the late 4th and 6th centuries. The Xiaobei noblewoman who owned them would have enjoyed the pleasant tinkling sounds of the gold leaves as she would walk in what is known as the swing step style. First seen during the Han period, the phoenix hat is by far the most significant type of hat to have been worn by the aristocratic women of ancient China. The Five Dynasties painting shows a lady of the court donning an early form of the phoenix hat. Silver, previously seldom used, suddenly became an important material in the Tang dynasty. Objects tended to be larger, and hairpins became more like crowns. During the late Tang and into the Liao dynasty, crowns had been adopted for secular wear and likely developed as a result of Buddhist influence on Chinese art. One of my personal favorites came into vogue with the emergence of the Yuan dynasty in the 13th century. Known as the gugu hat, it is still in use today in Inner Mongolia. The earliest necklaces found in ancient tombs were made of shell, a rare precious item. Shell was easily worked and light to wear. In Chinese, the word for precious is bao bei, which literally means precious shell. This necklace of rock crystal rings and agate beads dates to the Eastern Zhou dynasty in the 6th century BCE and was discovered in the grave of a woman in the capital of Qi. She was evidently about 20 years of age and had been put to death upon the demise of her lord, along with 16 others of his harem. All had been buried with their personal jewelry in the pit surrounding the Lord's chamber. A magnificent example of sophisticated taste and masterful artistry, this necklace is not from the Art Deco, but rather dates to the 7th century. The gold, pearl, and gem-set necklace from the Sui dynasty was found in the tomb of one Miss Li, granddaughter of the reigning queen. Traceable to the Han dynasty before the Common Era was the use of the long life lock. Usually made of gold, silver, or jade, these pendant clasps in the form of a Chinese lock were decorated with a variety of Chinese characters and symbols for long life and good fortune.